Hi guys, thank you for joining me today on this another video. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel. You have to go to YouTube, type the Learn Tech with Ram without any space and hit the subscribe button, so you will be subscribing my channel. Thank you for joining my video, and let's get started on the today's session. So today we are going to discuss about the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, right? So we are going to discuss about the EC2 instances. What is the EC2 instances and how and what is the usage of that? Okay, let's get started. So today's agenda would be our EC2 introduction. What are the EC2 types which are available in AWS consoles or the AWS platform? What is the instance life cycle? We will be discussing about the how the EC2 instance work. What are the tags which is being used in the AWS EC2, and in the final we will use a EC2 creation lab. So all this would be today's agenda, and let's move on the EC2 introduction. So what is EC2, right? So Amazon EC2 instance is just a virtual server which is available in the Amazon, right? And let's suppose if you want a server, right, to host your application or host your website, right, then that server is called EC2 instance in AWS, okay, to run all our infrastructure or applications in the Amazon Web Service infrastructure. So that is just a virtual server available in the AWS. What are the types of the compute cloud available in the EC2, or we can say AWS? So there are multiple categories, right? They are divided based on the categories, just like we can say it is general purpose regular you can use, right? You don't have any, just like the if you need any special memory type or a special CPU type, right, then you can go with the general purpose EC2 instances. We will be discussing more about the general purpose, what are the general purpose, which instance type are the general purpose, and how that is categorized. Second is comes to compute optimized, right? So compute optimized, that means that if you need a server which has the higher capacity of the CPU, more CPUs, right, you need the more CPU capacity or the more CPUs and run the application. So that is called as compute optimized. Next come memory optimized, right? So when we need a server, right, or we have an application which need more memory, just like the database, right, then we have to go with the memory optimized EC2 instance. Then further we can move on the storage optimized, where we need to build a storage server, right? So that should have the more IO, more capacity to attach the disk and all that. So for that purpose we go for the storage optimized. And in the last, if we talk about the accelerated computing, just like we use a gaming server, right, where multiple users will be traffic will be come to that server and they will performing some gaming activities. So that time we need some extra GPU based servers, so that come into the accelerated computing. So that's all about the category of the Elastic Compute Cloud in the AWS. Okay, let's talk about the general purpose, right? So there are some of the general purpose servers category, or we can say it is family. So there is just like M5 base, M5A. So all these are the general, it's come into the general purpose. And if you need any compute optimized, as we discussed, right, which has the more CPU, more virtual CPUs, so then you have to go with this type of the EC2 instances in the AWS. Further we talk about the memory optimized, then you have multiple memory optimized which has the higher memory. We will be discussing in the console as well. We will also go into the console and we'll see that how we can select or how we can find that what all the features, right, features or characteristics are available in that specific instances. Okay, that just as we talk about the storage optimized, so D3 and I3 and I4, IMZ, and all these are based on the storage optimized, and these are the some of the server which is accelerated computing based, right? So we can Next, as we discuss in our agenda, that we will be taking care, or we will be discussing care about the EC2 instance, that how the EC2 life cycle works generally in the AWS, right? So what, when you create a new server, then what you need a AMI, Amazon Machine Image, and based on that Amazon Machine Image, we will be launching a new server. When we launch a new server, first it go into the pending state. After going into the pending state, the pending state means that it is preparing for the running state, and then it come into the running state. When you hit the shutdown, it goes for the shutdown, right? And if you hit the terminate, then it will be terminated, right? This is the running, and if you hit the stop, it will go to stop state, it will go to the stop state, right? Also, if you hit the stop and hibernate, then it will also go into the hibernate. Okay, so hibernate is something like that. We are not completely shutting down, just like we are shutting down that machine, but all the data which is available in the RAM, that will be available into that state, right? That is hibernate. And if you are going to reboot, then it will be shut down, and it will reboot the server, and it will come to in the running state. So this is all about the life cycle of the EC2 instance, and some of the terminologies which is being used, just like what is the meaning of the pending, right? So the instance is, just like I said, it is preparing to enter into running state, right? An instance enter the pending state when it launched for the first time, right? And when it is started after being a stop state. So just like if we have stopped the server, then if we start again, then it will first come to the pending state, and then it will come to the running state. Does it cost? No, it will not cost. If the server is in the pending state, it will not bill you. Second state, as I discussed about the running state, right? So the instance is running and ready for use, just like it is in up and running, and you can use it, right? And definitely it will bill you, or it will charge you during the time. Stopping, the instance is preparing to be stop or stop hibernated, not bill if the preparing to stop. Just like if it in a stopping state, it will not charge you. Bill if preparing to hibernate. Yeah, definitely it is saying that if it is in the hibernate, then it will bill. Stop, in the same manner, the instance is shut down and cannot be used, just like our server is down, and we cannot log into that server and we can work, right? So that server can be instance or the start again at any time, but that if it is in the stop state, it will not bill you, or it will not charge you. Shutting down, the instance is preparing to be terminated. Just like if you want to completely delete that, then if the system is going into the shutting down, then it will not charge you, and it will be terminated, it will be deleted. Terminated, the instance has completely or permanently deleted and cannot be started again, and it will not charge you. Just like reserved instance that apply to terminal instances are billed until. There are some, just like we have discussed about the we have not discussed about the instance purchasing capacity, but definitely we will be options, or we will be discussing on that as well. So what happens that when you have reserved instance, right? So whether you are going to terminate or not, that doesn't matter. That will charge you until their terms and condition is applying. Just like we have purchased a reserved instance for the 1 year, right? So for that 1 year completely, it will be charged you. So that's all about the instance state. So we have discussed all about this, and let's get to the let's get to the our AWS console, so we can have a look on that what all things are there. Okay, so this is the EC2 instance. When I log into the console, then we have to go to the EC2 instance. You can also write here in this search section and click on the EC2. It will land you on the EC2 instance page. Okay, so this is the dashboard, right? So generally, if we have to also discuss about the tags, right? So what is tags? Tags is just like key or value based pair, and this is the just like for the filtration purpose. If you want to, just like we have we have multiple server and we want to filter that server, right, and we want to segregate the server just like the environment base, then what you can do, just like the I have just like the one of the instance, and let me see the text, right. So I have selected and I have clicked here, right, but here I have given only the name, but if I want to more, right, add text just like from which environment it belong, then I can give the it belong to the dev environment, who is the owner of this server, so we can give the owner RAM. So in the same manner, this is for the just the filtration or the segregations of the that environment or that server. For that we do the tagging. Okay, let me do this one, the server, right. So these are the key and value based pair. So if I just like if I want to filter, right, so tags equal to either here you can see tag, okay, just like the env equal to dev, right. Sorry, env, right. So based on this tags, it has filtered, it is only showing one server, it is not showing the all servers. So this is for the segregation and filtration base. Okay, second thing, as we have discussed about the instance type, so you can see here as we have multiple, right, so just like the instance family, and we can just like the one of the server just like the M related, so M4. So let's suppose we have these servers, right, so this is memory optimized. How I can identify this memory optimized? Because this server has the more memory than CPU, right, it has 2 virtual CPU and 4 GB of memory. What is the architecture of this, right, how much storage, network performance, how is this good or not, what will be the on demand pricing. So all it's about, you can check here in the EC2 page and go to the instance type, and you can see here all the required detail. And also you can visit to the AWS documentation, so there you would find the more detail on this. Further, as we have discussed that we have to lab just like the create a EC2 instance. So let's launch EC2 instance, right. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to just first type the server name, or just like the identical name, just like this is my web server, right, or web server. Okay, application and OS image, just like we have use, or the just like if I want to create a Red Hat based server, then I can select the Red Hat based AMIs, Amazon Linux based AMIs. So let's create the filter out the AWS Red Hat images. Okay, and here you have to select the machine, this the AWS AMI, right, this AMI I have selected is the free tier eligible, so it will not charge the OS licensing cost. Yeah, definitely it is provided by the Red Hat and verified provider. Here you can select the instance type, right. So as we have discussed, we have multiple, right. So let's suppose if I want to M related, right, M2 or M3, or you can find the specific name, and then just like if you want to see C4.xlarge, right, which has the 4 CPU and 36 GB CPU and 60 GB memory, but we don't want to go with this because this is paid. This is the paid version, and I want to go with the right now with the free tier eligible, so that is the T2 micro only, and you have to launch with the T2 micro for the your just like the demo purpose and the free tier eligible only, otherwise it will cost you. Then further what you have to do, you have to create the key pair, right. So if you don't have the key, then you have to name here and create the key pair. It will download .pm file, and based on that you can, but right now I have created already, so I have this demo key, and based on that I will be using. Here you can create the security group if you have existing security group, right. Let's suppose I have the multiple security group and I want to select one of them, right. So we can use the existing, but let me create a new security group here, so it will allow SSH traffic from anywhere by default. And if you want to allow HTTP traffic, or then you can select this checkbox, so it will allow automatically. So generally it is giving us a warning, right? Rules with the source of 00 allow all IP access to your instance, right? That is not recommended setting for security rules in the production environment, and we should not go with the 000 because anyone can access your server here, so we don't want. Next, it's come to the configuration of the storage, right? So this is about the root volume. If we want to change the size of the EC2 instance, then you root volume, then you can go with it, but definitely we will go with the default setting right now. If you want to add new volume, you can add new EBS volume. Right now it is not encrypted, so we will talk about later on this encryption, how it is work when we will create a video based on the KMS services. Okay, but right now we don't want to create any additional, and let's go with the default. There are some advanced detail. You can purchasing options, as we have discussed earlier. So purchasing option we will be discussing more, that what are the purchasing options. So request export instance and on demand. So we are just going with the on demand, and we will be keeping it as a default, right? This is the IAM instance profile, right? So it is what it gives the access, just like it is service account, right? Let's suppose if you want to get the access of the EC2 S3 bucket, right, on the EC2, then how you will authenticate. So that is for the role based access, right? So that we will be discussing more on this when we will make a video on the IAM section, right? So if you have to type the host name and all that, this is regarding that. So we don't want to go with these options. This is the by default option, instance auto recovery, right? So this is generally automatically it will recover the instance, just like if you want to see on the instance auto recover your system if the system status check failed, right? Because when you create a new instance, it will first it will check the system status and OS to instance status and system status. When it is failed, it will automatically recover your instance. So shutdown behavior, what you want to do, if you hit the shutdown stop button, then what it will do, it will stop or it will terminate. So I want to keep it as default, because when you hit the stop button, then it should go into the stop button only. In the same manner, the stop hibernate, if you want to go termination protection. So if you enable this, you nobody can delete unless we disable this option again. So all this is, and there is a multiple options we can discuss later on this when we do a deep dive, right? So let's go and create a EC2 instance, and let me, so successfully initiated launch of instance. We have initiated the launch of instance, and go to this instance ID, and it will be first, as we have discussed, it coming into the pending state because it is first time going to create. This is the server, and once it is in the running state, we will get the IP address, and then we can go to the SSH. So I have opened the PowerShell and I have downloaded my PEM key, so that is demo key file, and by default it would have the EC2-user and at the rate the IP address. So yes, definitely it is asking to log in. Yeah, definitely we have logged in successfully, right? Host name IPA, right? So it has given us the default private IP is 172.31.32.1.7. so that is the private IP, and that's all about the instance creation. So it is very simple to create an instance, and if you want to give more tag here, right, so we can give during the creation of the instance as well after the launching of the instance, just like the env and the prod, right? So just you have to save and all that. Further, what you can do, multiple things on this. So let me show you how what you can do. So just like this is security, and as we have discussed, right, about the security group, you can do here all the what are the rules and regulations, so protocols which is enabled on the, right, as we have selected the three options. So it has already created the three rules. One is for the HTTP, HTTPS and XSS, right? This further it discuss about the networking details. So it's a lot of options. and we will be creating a dedicated video on that, so which gives a more deep dive understanding. This is about the storage. So what all the disks are available. So by default we have the root, and that is a name as a DVST1 root device type, and EBS optimization is by default disabled. So this has the detail of this instance. It's saying the delete on termination. So what it will do, when you will go with the deletion of this instance, it will automatically delete this volume, or we can say disk, hard disk. So all about this storage. And we were talking about the system check or status check, right? So there is two type of system check. One is the system check and one is instance check. So system check checks whether your hardware is perfectly running in the AWS environment or not, and this check whether your OS, cached OS, right, the AMI based OS is working properly or not. So once it will be green, then we can ensure that our server is successfully working and in optimal condition. So we don't have to worry about that. And if it is failed, then right, so system reachability check pass and instance reachability check it is pass. So further it is monitoring. So by default it will give us a CPU utilization, some status check failed, and all this best metrics, network metrics, disk metrics, and CPU credit and all that. So further if you do monitoring, then you can have to a CloudWatch, then on that you can do it. And it's all about the okay. And one more thing we have to discuss about the just like we were saying about the purchasing option, right? So we have the on demand, just like we have the spot request, saving plan, reserve instance, dedicated host. So in the on demand we will have the per second base the charges, right? And if you want to reserve instance for the 1 or 3 years, right, then you can get a 90% of the discount on that. So you can have a look on that, and you can go to the Google and you can find all these details. So just like let me have a look on the Google. So AWS EC2 purchasing options. So it will give us the more detailed information on this, that what all things are available. Yeah, so we were discussing about the on demand instances. So what you have to do, that when you create any instance, right, on demand based on our need, then you have to pay by the second for the instance that you launch. Second comes to saving plans, right? So that reduce your Amazon EC2 cost by making a commitment, right? We are going to AWS and we are saying that we will be using this type or this amount of the CPU or the servers and all the infrastructure, right, for the 1 year or the 3 years, right? In term of the minimum 1 year and maximum to 3 years, just like then you can make a commitment. So it will give you just like the subsidy on that, and will give you the discount on that. Then further it comes the reserve instance. Reduce your Amazon EC2 cost by making a commitment to consistent instance configuration, including instance type and region. And so this is more about, right, that what you can give the commitment, right, to them, the AWS, that we will be using this type of the instance configuration and including all in this region. So based on that you can reserve the instance or the hardware for your workload. Then further it's come the spot instance, right, request unused EC2 instance, which can be cost. So this is something like that, you request unused EC2 instance that is available on a EC2 market, or the we can say AWS marketplace, right? But that is not for the, just like we have the constant or persistent workload, right? So that could be terminated anytime. So we have to work on that as well. We have to keep in mind that well. Dedicated hosts, pay for the physical host that is fully dedicated to running your instance. Just like if we generally run the launch EC2 instance, right, on demand, then it could be on the shared pool, right? So in the AWS environment there is a hardware, right, on that multiple VMs can run, and that could be from the different vendor or customer, right? But if you want to have a dedicated, right, hardware, then you can go with the dedicated host, and on that you can launch your EC2 instance, and on that only your instance would be running, no other instance would be running on that. dedicated instance pay by the hour for instance that run on the single tenant hardware. So that is for the single tenant hardware, right? And capacity region, reserve capacity for EC2 instance in the specific availability zone for your duration. Just like you can reserve a capacity that I will need this much of the CPU, this much of the memory, this much of the disk into a particular availability zone or at a data center. So that's all about the purchasing option of the EC2 instances. So we have discussed about all this about the EC2 instances, and hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me, and if you really enjoyed this video, please go to the YouTube and watch my video and subscribe channel for supporting me so I can bring more videos on this. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day. Bye bye.